Hey all, welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and today I have for you guys my Red Eyes build. So this is actually a really fun deck to play. I was actually impressed. I didn't think Red Eyes were really finding a consistent theme to go with. They kept jumping all over the place, from Xyz to Fusion to whatever they just released now. When OCG just released a whole bunch of new Red Eyes stuff. But I think this is a pretty solid deck. Someone at my local game store plays a very similar version of this deck. I asked him what he played, and it turned out it was quite similar to what I had constructed here. So I wanted to showcase that for all of you. Now this is a Red Eyes deck that focuses on burn powers. Burn, as well as the 3 summoning mechanics, Xyz, Fusion, and Synchro, which is pretty awesome. It has access to all those, and that's through an interesting little normal monster we added, but we'll get to that in a second. So first off, let's just get into it with 3 Red Eyes Black Dragons Vanilla. The original art as well. I love it so much. Good old Joey. So of course we run 3. It's a level 7 monster, which synergizes with our Xyz monsters down there. And then we also have 3 Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon, a Gemini monster, which is normal, as well as it has the ability of burning. So if it is normal summoned, to have its effect, if damage calculation is performed involving this card at the end of the battle phase, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's original attack. So an extra 2400 damage, which is insanely powerful. So running that at 3, level 7s. Then we have 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. So this is just a really powerful card. It's been at 1 for many years now. All you have to do to bring it out is banish a dragon monster on your side of the field, and then you can bring it out with its awesome ability to special summon any dragon type monster from your hand or graveyard, and that's once per turn. Next up we got our nice little Labradite dragons here. Now these cards are awesome because they're normal dragons. They're level 6, so they work with our fusions, but they're also tuner monsters, which is pretty awesome. So you can bring this guy out, and we have some level 1s in the deck, so that brings out our level 7 engines in the deck to bring out our synchros. So we only have 2 of them. They have 2400 defense, so you obviously try to get them in defense if you bring them out for any reason in case they get stopped. That 0 attack is a pretty big target on them. And then we have 1 Summoned Skull Vanilla again, and that's just for the access for Red Eyes Black Skull Dragon in the extra deck fusion monster, and that's because we need the specific monster to bring it out, and Summoned Skull just works with that. Next up we get 2 Black Metal Dragons. So this is an equip card, but it also is a searcher. So you can equip it to a Red Eyes monster you control, and then it gives it 600 attack. Pretty awesome. We're going up to 3000 there. But if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand. So monster or spell or trap. That's pretty awesome. That's a great search ability. And then we have 2 the Black Stone of Legend. So this is just like the White Stone of Legend from the good old Blue Eyes deck, but it has some different things going on with it. So instead of it being a tuner, it's not. But you can tribute this card. Special summon 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck. So it searches the deck for a Red Eyes monster, bring it right out. Now this card is in your graveyard. You can target a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard and then shuffle it back into the deck. And if you do, add this card back to your hand. And then to finish off our monster lineup, we have 1 Maxi. I run this in almost every deck right now. It's at 1, so you know, why not run it? It's awesome if you go first. You can really stop your opponent from going off, and if they do go off, well, you're pretty much gonna win because they took the Maxi challenge and you got 12 cards in your hand. Moving on to our spells and traps. So our spell lineup begins with the Red Eyes Fusion. We have 3 of these. It's awesome. It allows you to fusion summon a Red Eyes monster using monsters from your hand, deck, or your side of the field. So the most important thing is deck. You can search out. It's just like Future Fusion, but you cannot normal or special summon other monsters the turn you activate this card. So you're using Red Eyes Fusion, but you're not going to be bringing out anything else when you use it. But I say it's a pretty fair trade-off, and of course we run that at 3. Next up we got 1 Dragon's Mirror in this deck, and that's mostly for the first of the dragons in our extra deck, and maybe even our Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. In addition, Future Fusion serves the same purpose. This allows us to get cards into our graveyard a little bit faster. And of course, it's got its Rata, so a little bit changed up stuff then, and in the latest ban list it was brought back, so it's at 1. So that ended off our main deck fusion cards. Now we're going to our draw power cards. So this deck has very many draw power cards. So we have 3 Allure of Darkness. Obviously all the cards in our main deck are dark cards, so that's pretty awesome. And then we got Sacred Swords of the 7 Stars. Now this works in the same sense as Allure of Darkness, because normally with Allure of Darkness you should be banishing one of your monsters. This one just picks a level 7 monster from your hand or face up from your side of the field, and then you get to draw 2 cards. So that's pretty powerful, but you can only use 1 per turn. And we run 2 of them. Next up we got 2 Cards of Redstone. So this is when you send 1 level 7 Red Eyes monster from your hand to the graveyard and then draw 2 cards. Then you can send 1 level 7 Red Eyes monster from your deck to the graveyard. So it's just like Dragon Shrine, but with a lot more draw power in the sense of it. Then we got 3 Red Eyes Insight. So this is when you send a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard and add 1 Red Eyes spell and trap card from your deck to your hand, except Red Eyes Insight itself, and you can only use 1 per turn. Alright, and that ends off our draw power. Moving on to a burn effect. We have 2 Inferno Fire Blast. So you can target 1 face-up Red Eyes Black Dragon you control, inflict damage equal to its original attack. Red Eyes Black Dragon cannot attack the turn you activate this card. So that's pretty powerful because you're going to be getting at least 2400 because all these cards are Red Eyes. But if you use Red Eyes Fusion, the monster that gets brought out is also named Red Eyes Black Dragon, so you can use Inferno Fire Blast on that. And then for a searching special summon card, we have 1 for 1. And this is because you have some level 1s in the deck, and of course this synergizes with getting cards in the graveyard and getting your Black Stone of Legend out so you can tribute it. And then we have 2 Return of the Dragon Lords. We do have a 3rd one in the side deck. I just couldn't make it fit in the main deck for me right now. There's so much special summoning. Honestly, I would even just take out a Silver's Cry for another Return of the Dragon Lords. But a lot of people have been telling me, no, keep a Silver's Cry in there and all that, because it's quick play and all that. And I go, alright, yeah, I can see that. So the balance I have right now is 2 Return of the Dragon Lords, 2 Silver's Cry, but you can obviously change that up for 3 Return of the Dragon Lords, 1 Silver Cry if you so choose. And then we got 1 Soul Charge, obviously because it's stuck at 1, and that's just to bring back all your monsters, super easy like that. And then because we're doing a lot of banishing, we have 1 Burial from a different dimension to add them back to your graveyard so you can reuse them again. And then lastly, Red Eyes Spirit, a monster reborn in every essence, but only for your Red Eyes, and of course it's a trap card. But this card does not stay on the field, so it just revives your Red Eyes, and then this trap goes to the graveyard. Not to link it to it like Call the Haunted would, so if Call the Haunted's destroyed, your Red Eyes would be destroyed. No, it's just instant revival. So that ends off our main deck portion. Now let's move on to the extra deck. In the extra deck we have our most powerful Xyz, 3 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Now this is really powerful, so it cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has Xyz material. And while this card has Xyz material, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves. And then once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then target 1 Red Eyes normal monster graveyard, special summon it. Wow, so the burn potential in this deck is too strong, and it also has so much revival, so much searching, it's so powerful. And then just to assist that, we have 1 Heretic Dragon, King of Atum. So once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, special summon 1 dragon monster from your deck, attack and defense 0. This card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect, and obviously because we have 2 level 6s that are dragons up over there, we have this just as the off chance that you go into this. Next up we got 1 number 11 Big Eye. So this is really powerful, obviously because we have so many level 7s. Once per turn you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control of that monster. And this card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. So that's the only downside, but really you're gaining your opponent's monster. And that ends our Xyz lineup. Let's go into the Fusion lineup. We have 3 Meteor Black Comet Dragon. So this takes 1 level 7 Red Eyes monster and 1 level 6 Dragon type monster. So we do have, and that's why we have the Labradite Dragons in this deck, because we need to bring out this guy, a 3500 attack Red Eyes that looks insanely cool. Now if this card is fusion summoned, you can send 1 Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the original attack of that monster. So you're going to shoot him with 1200 right when this card is brought out, and you get a Foolish Burial for this deck. Now, if this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can target one normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it so it revives instantly. So all in all, super powerful. That's why we have it at 3, but we only have one Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. I've seen some people run 2 of these. With only one Summoned Skull and the space within this extra deck, I think 1 is a fair choice. So basically you need to use one level 6 Archfiend normal monster, so that would be our Summoned Skull right there, and one Red Eyes normal monster. Now, if this card attacks or is attacked, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. Really powerful. If damage calculation is performed involving this fusion summoned card, so it has to be fusion summoned, not maybe just resummoned. If damage calculation is performed at the end of the battle phase, you can target one Red Eyes normal monster in the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack in the graveyard, then shuffle it into the deck. So you get to return a card and burn your opponent for maybe 2400. Super powerful. Now we're going on to our generic fusions. We have 2 First of the Dragon. So this only just takes 2 normal monsters, so you can use Summon Skull in this. So that's really powerful. Good thing to remember. But it must be first fusion summoned and not special summoned by other ways. That's okay. You can only control 1 First of Dragons. Now I like having 2 because I always find your opponent has a way of getting around it since it's stuck in the grave or something like that, and you want to bring it out again. So that's why I have 2 of them. But maybe if you wanted to sub one of these out for maybe Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, that would be also a good choice. But I'm looking at it 2. And this card cannot be destroyed by battle, except by battle with a normal monster. And this card is unaffected by other monsters' effects. Really, really clutch there. And then lastly for our fusion lineup, we have 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Now this takes 2 dark monsters on the field. If this card is fusion summoned, you can make this card gain attack equal to 1 special summon monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. Also, once per turn, you can target one level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, this card's name becomes that monster's and replace this effect with the monster's original effects. If this card is fusion summoned, destroyed, you can destroy all special monsters your opponent controls. That's really powerful. I recommend running at least one of these. I think it's awesome, awesome, awesome. And that ends our fusion. So moving on to our synchros, we have 3 synchros, all level 7s. And first off, we have Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. If this card is special summoned, or a level 5 or higher monster is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field, target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls, return that target to the hand. That's pretty awesome. Then we also have its counterpart, Black Rose Dragon. When this card is synchro summoned, you can destroy all cards on the field. And that's the only thing you'd be using with this deck. The secondary effect is about plant stuff, and you're not using it for plant, but it's just a giant Heavy Storm Dark Hole combo piece. And then finally we have Exploder Dragon Wing to add to the burn and a little bit more protection power. This is pretty easy to bring out, and if this card battles a monster, you can destroy that monster instantly, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster that had on the field. This card's attack must be greater than or equal to that monster to activate and resolve this effect. With that ending our extra deck, let's move into our side deck. Now the side deck for me is just a whole bunch of stuff that would work in the deck that you maybe would have to sub out depending on the matchup. Specifically more generally support for the deck itself and not just general hand traps this time. So we have 1 more at the Black Stone of Legend, 1 more Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, 1 more Return of the Dragon Lords, and we got a Regeki. We also got the addition of 2 Dragon's Mirrors, and 2 Cosmic Cyclones, 2 Twin Twisters, and that's all for back row destruction, because maybe you need that, maybe you don't. I don't really think you do with the burn effects of this. Maybe if you get locked down, the burns are still going to start eating away at your opponent's life points till they die away anyways. Then we got this fun little card, Full Force Virus. Tribute 1 dark monster with 2000 or more defense. Check your opponent's hand, all monster control, and all cards they draw to the next to the end of their 3rd turn after this card's activation, and destroy all of them with a defense of 1500 or less. So that's really powerful to get rid of a whole bunch of your opponent's cards. It's going to stop a lot of their plays, and obviously because a lot of people use weaker cards to bring out stronger extra deck cards. And then finally we got 3 Solemn Strikes and 1 Solemn Warning, the Solemn set. Very powerful. I highly recommend. the best thing to negate anything, and you're not really paying much life points in this deck besides these cards, so I highly recommend just tossing as many in as you see fit. Alright, and there you guys have it. That is my Red Eyes build. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative. I hope it helped you maybe come up with your own Red Eyes build, or use this one. I highly recommend it. It's quite competitive, and it's actually very, very fun to play. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to catch you in the next one, and as always, peace.